I start and I say hello to the Polish people. You're only my second ever in-person Polish interview. Last night was my first ever Polish concert, and I have been making music for many, many, many years and traveled around the world on and off for 15 years, and it's very rare for me to have a first time anymore. And this has been really exciting. And this tour, I have the first time with Poland, first time with Czech Republic, and first time with Turkey. So for me, it's a very, very important part of the tour because I get to meet a new people and start a new relationship. And last night started fantastic in Warsaw. Incredibly open, enthusiastic, appreciative, very expressive of their feelings. It was beautiful, beautiful. The whole band, everybody agreed. I mean, you should speak to the band afterwards because none of us have been here before, and they walked off stage and said, wow, that's one of the best shows we've played. The people are just so excited and so grateful. It's fantastic. And I've never said it ever to any audience, but I did say last night that it was love at first sight. After the first song, I just love Poland. The second solo album, Out of Our Minds, is a much more layered and conceptual project. It started as me writing my second record, but I also wanted to find a story in the record to make a fantasy film and comic book, and I also documented the making of it the whole way on my blog, and so it was much more of a wanted to build a bigger universe. My first record was much more straightforward musically and conceptually. It was very straight ahead, heavy, romantic rock music. This one is much more layered. The music is more diverse. It goes heavier, lighter, sparse. I changed the way I wrote the songs. My first record I wrote very simple on a guitar. This one I wrote more on my bass with drummers, on piano. I changed, so I think I expanded. My goal was to expand as an artist, to try new things so that I don't do the same thing twice. So I would say that that's Out of Our Minds. My new album is much more experimental and different than my first one, but I would hope so because I don't think life is too short to do the same thing twice. So you have to change and try something new every time. For this record, I really, really wanted to return to my roots, where I came from, which is I used to look for a feeling and try to express it in all of these different ways. So for me as an artist, I decided it was a personal and creative promise to myself to return to all my passions and to be able to make a world that reflects all the things that I love and that I'm interested in, not just music, even though music has remained the center of my path in life, but it's very much about finding a feeling and being able to share it in many different ways. And what's been incredible with Out of Our Minds, the album and the film and the project, is in the last year I have gone to film festivals, fantasy conventions, comic book conventions, fine art museums, small galleries, small rock clubs, big rock festivals. The fact that I can bring one project to all of these different places is much more satisfying to me as a person because I make art to share it with people, which is again why I'm happy to be in Poland. I make art to be able to travel around the world and go into different cultures and different creative communities to be able to share my experience in life and love and art. Well, my first record I wrote in my 20s, in the 1990s, while playing bass for other people in other people's bands. My new album I wrote in my 30s, in the 21st century, as a completely free artist. That's a fundamental difference that's so huge that, I mean, I hear the difference, but I also know the difference as a person. But I would say the biggest evolutions are Like I said earlier, I changed the way I wanted to push myself as a songwriter to write differently and from different instruments and in different perspectives. As a lyricist, I wanted to push the topics in which I was singing about. My first record was much more sort of a coming of age, looking for love, discovering sexuality, like a woman trying to understand what it is to be a woman. That's what you do when you're 27, 28. Whereas this record is much more about a universal emotion. It's not only about romantic love, or it's about sort of the broader picture of what inspires us to make art or to fall in love. And so the topic of Out of Our Minds pretty much exists in the title track, Out of Our Minds, and the chorus lyrics is travel out of our minds into our hearts standing by. Our hearts have been standing by for so long, and that is pretty much the theme throughout the whole project, and it inspired the film and the comic book, is this idea that we are these people who are split between the mind and the heart, which is an ancient, old, religions are based on this. Adam and Eve is the same idea of masculine, feminine. It's the two sides, but in this, I wanted to take a universal subject and try to explore it as a woman in her 30s in the 21st century through film, and bringing in all the references that inspire me, whether it's ancient Viking mythology or fantasy, time travel. I mean, I put all of these things into one project, but essentially the topic is it's an invitation for the listener or the viewer to leave this and to go to a more subconscious emotional place, which I think is much needed all around the world. We're all slaves to money, computers, governments. It's ridiculous, and we always have to be reminded how important it is to return to our feeling and not our thinking. And that's what art and music is for most people, is to make it or to listen to it is a leaving and to feel and not to think. And that's what's so powerful about music. And so that's what I wanted to explore in this project, was how to invite a group of people to, with me at the same time, let go and feel it. You worked very hard for your independence, and your artists were always thriving, and now they have even more freedom to share. I know there's a lot of talent and passion in Poland, so I invite you to find me and show me your work. I want to, I know there's an incredible history of artistic survivalism in this country, so keep up the good work.